Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. It is our weekly One If spoiler review where we're talking about episode 7. I got my boy with me. I got Jett Groove, all of his YouTube information. If you want to like and subscribe, and I know you do, are down below in the description box. But yeah, so we're here to talk about episode 7 of What If, which I know will probably veer into other comic book conversations because that's what happens on Friday.
Every episode.
Every episode.
This is the running trend now. Focus on topic, and then we do something where we kind of cross the street, and then we go to the corner store that's down the street, and then we go over to so-and-so's house. It just happens.
You still don't get any damn milk and bring home. That's the sad part. Went out to get milk, came home with orange juice.
I always get my ass whipped. That's why.
Came home with Annihilators. All right, so this episode of Thor. What if Thor was an only child, basically? That's what this is. What if he never met Loki? They never had the trials, tribulations, backstabbing, kind of toxic relationship with brothers that they had, which is a little bit better now, depending on which Loki we're talking about. Because depending on the Loki. For me in this episode, I feel like there was no difference between this Thor and the God of War Thor we had that was literally binging out on junk food and got a beer belly and playing God of War. There is no difference between this Thor and that Thor to me.
This was the potential what Thor could be if he had like a decent childhood.
I will tell you, his mother cracked me up when they were like.
That was honestly the funniest thing. When she went to go get his mom to
not even that. Think about from the beginning of this episode, Odin's going down for his, his normal Odin sleep. And, she's like, good night, my darling. And everyone's like humming in the background and doing their little, angelic, ethereal music. And then as soon as she's out, all right, I'm out. I'm going to hang out with my sister.
She's the whole. He sleep? Yeah, he's sleep.
She's like, deuces. When dad is asleep, mama's going to play. I was like, what is happening?
Oh my goodness. But no, this episode was like supposed to be T'Challa kind of fun, but like it was so much sillier than that.
It was like watching a parody. This is what it was.
It was cool they did put Loki in there as an actual giant, and it was like, oh, what's up, brother from another mother? What's up, brother from another mother? Like, oh wow, we're doing this. Y'all like frat bros. What is this? What is this?
Well, they even went to Earth because they knew they couldn't actually party on Asgard because the mama was gonna come back and be like, "What the hell wrong with you?" So it's like all the 9 realms. Let's go to Midgard. No, we're gonna go party on Earth because nobody cares about that planet. It's insignificant. I was like, wow.
I love how they call the other asteroids and stuff the name, but they call Earth Midgard. Like, why do we have a different name compared to everybody else? That's kind of strange, man.
We weren't invited to the party. That's what that was about. We're like, nah, no party for you.
I love all the Easter eggs, though. They sprinkled so many characters in there.
I know. Like, Darcy ended up marrying Howard the damn duck. I was like, are you kidding me? And they had Elvis Presley, like literally, who looked like Kurt Russell, literally marrying them. Like, what is happening? This was like an episode of Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego meets, Where's Waldo? Because all you did was you spent more time looking in the background to see who they had in the background than you did actually giving a crap about Thor. Nobody cared that Thor was partying. I didn't give a shit. Why did his mom take so long to get to Earth? Like when she was like,
because they had to give him time to get ready. He had to fix up. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or some shit like that.
That's what it is. This is literally Thor Bueller's Day Off. Yeah. This is what this was. And I'm like, although I will say the Captain Marvel thing with him and her were funny as hell.
It was. You know what I liked about it for real? The fact that the fight was complete nonsense. A and B, there was no clear winner or loser. They did the thing when you start arguing who will win fights and like, well, he used lightning. That lightning won't affect her. She can't pick up his hammer though. But that's only the gift. It was that kind of thing,
Yeah, well, she was like, if I really let loose, I'm going to take out half the damn planet. But I like when she was like getting her butt kicked a little bit. Maria was like, well, Nick said you were good. I'm like, well, bitch, you go out there and do it. That would have been my response. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You got this, Maria. You go right ahead. Like,
it was just pure nonsense. It was so like Tom and Jerry. It was ridiculous. The fight was fun, but it was more funny. It was more silly.
Yeah,
than funny.
It was hilarious.
It was like, I can tell by this, no one's going to really win or lose this fight. There's no way. Like, there are ways that Thor can win. There are ways Captain Marvel can win this, but they're not going to decide a winner because that would be too serious and unfun. I do like the fact when she was like, "Can I see what he was doing?" And he was teaching his friends. Like, oh my God, dude. What is going on here?
Well, to me, and then all the Easter eggs when they were fixing everything, like I could have swore that they showed Tahiti. You know where Coulson went when he died, and
yeah. And
I think they did actually. I think that was Tahiti. Some people said that was Hawaii. I think that was Tahiti.
I'm going to say it's Tahiti for the sake of Easter eggs. So,
yeah, it was either that or the simulation on the spaceship that we're going to see later on in Secret Invasion in space, the moon base, because they had a simulation where Nick Fury was laying down almost exactly and he was on the beach. So it could be either or, but I think that's still Project Tahiti. So I'm just going to put it out there that that's what that was. But I love how they picked Vegas. They literally pick Vegas.
Because why not go to Vegas?
Why the hell not? I mean, they're not even from Earth, but even they know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
It's weird because they went down there and did the whole Loki intro, like people of Midgard and all this stuff. And it's like we're the part. Everybody's like, hey, all right.
We hit a part. Well, yeah, Drax, you had Lady Sif, all them. Valkyrie was in the background. I was literally playing this game.
Like everybody that could matter off this planet was there. It's like, what is going on? The Collector wasn't there. His brother was. But it's like, man, what the hell? I said, we're keeping the Scooties.
Well, and when Loki first shows up, because remember, in this version, Loki never gets raised by Odin. He actually goes back to his people. So him and Thor, they're like BFFs. They're like fist bumping. He gives him a drink. But I love when his mom's coming. He's like, my mother's coming. And Loki's like, but she's not my mother. I don't care.
Mother from another mother.
That seems like a personal problem to you.
Then Loki goes up in the air and he starts shouting, hear me now. Yo, like my mom was really coming and I'm not
funny as shit. But even then it was like, so your mom's coming, who cares? I still don't understand why they decided to help him, because like really
you know what?
It wasn't a problem for them.
Probably because they're afraid of her, because she is strong, she is powerful. I guess I don't know, maybe it's part of the fun because it has to be zany some kind of way, because it was funny. It was so funny. Thor's getting ready to wind up to hit Captain Marvel for real and vice versa out in the middle of nowhere, and then his mom Charlie shows up like, what are you doing? Oh man, look. Funny story, right? So I think Captain Marvel is like, oh, this is too good.
Yeah. Well, I love they had some of the same cast members actually portray themselves. Like Natalie Portman is Jane Foster in this. Kat Dennings is Darcy. Karen Gillan is Nebula. Jamie Alexander was Lady Sif. But then when they came down to for instance, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, it was not Brie Larson. That was Alexandra Daniels. I looked at the cast list before we started. I'm like, it's interesting. I wonder if they're just busy filming and they don't have time to do it. Because, I mean, as somebody who does voiceovers, I know it can be time consuming to get in the studio, get in the booth, and have to record for hours. I mean, normally when you record an episode, it literally could be multiple days before you're done. I mean, this is 5 to 6 hour sessions and sometimes longer. So,
well, she might still be in the works of her next movie is going to be in the Eternals, because the same reason why you're not catching Tom Holland playing Peter Parker voices. Yeah,
which when that blew up the internet, they're like, oh, he wasn't Spider-Man and What If, so they're obviously getting ready to fire him. He's leaving the role. I'm like,
no,
what?
He's not leaving the role. He's probably busy. Some of them can't come back and do their characters because they got shit to do.
Yeah,
like y'all don't realize. Remember, we actually got the original T'Challa. This means that they recorded this a long time back. This wasn't something they did like 2 months ago. Yep. This is back then, and they're still working on their movies and projects now. So I mean,
and Tom Hiddleston actually was Loki, and Chris Hemsworth was Thor. So I guess it's because they hadn't started filming Loki, and obviously this was well after Endgame. So
exactly,
it's interesting. It is interesting.
Everything about time, you don't know, because even then, I know people don't know about voice acting, but they don't record those episodes in order at all. And whatever,
not even the scenes are done in order. It's just like a movie. So
they give you the script and they let you go ahead. They let you slate, and then you get yourself together, I guess, for whatever lines you're going to deliver. And sometimes they have you do all the lines you're going to do within a week span. So you just come in, You read that line, of course, you're going to read like maybe 15, 25, 30 fucking times. And then once that happens, they get what they need.
I love how you said 20 or 30. You're like, that's so nice.
I know it is nice. I'm saying that because they are their character already. I'm assuming it won't take them that long, but
it also depends on the director because directors are very picky.
That's also true.
And this is actually, you guys also think of what if as an alternate reality. So what your character would be like in continuity would not be what it would be like in this. So
I don't know if you've ever seen voice actors do this shit. Sometimes they'll just turn the damn thing off and be behind the booth talking to them, just shooting shit while you're saying the same one line over and over. And I wish it was just a line. I've had sessions where it's a paragraph and it's like that one word that you said on the 7th line or the 5th line. Can you go back and like the word on the 5th line? You mean that word? Start
I
from
like how you stress that. So I could see that being an issue for What If. I feel like voiceovers is very time consuming. It is an acting job. So
it takes, it's like you're at your house and you decide to do a silly ass dub parody and shoot it out there. It's not the same.
Hell, you even know when you were at my house doing work for me that I was a hard ass director.
Yeah,
I was like, do it again.
You gotta record.
You're in my booth.
Record over and over. Even when you think like that was a good take. I like the way that sound. Do it again.
Do it again. Just because you like it, I like it, and that's all that matters because it's mine.
Like,
Groove knows she's about to go through that with me on our motion comic. I'm plugging Warriors of Sarek, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel coming out next year. But all my actors are being recorded remotely, so they all have sessions and they have to do lines over and over.
Oh, did you send? You didn't send my lines yet, though.
Because your script's not released yet to the 30th, so you're fine. And that's all we're gonna talk about because we're not talking about that anymore. Too many spoilers. All right, so back to What If. So I did not hate this episode, but I don't know what it is, guys. I feel like they came out balling. Like they were like, okay, Captain Carter. And they were like, T'Challa is Star-Lord. And it was like, okay, now we're going to go down to serial killer Avengers. And they were like, yes, Doctor Strange is having issues. Supreme, blah, blah, blah. Then we got Marvel Zombies. And now we got Thor being himself. I'm like,
the break felt too abrupt.
We did get I skipped one. We did get Killmonger, and the Killmonger episode last week.
It was still kind of dark though.
It was dark, and I did not enjoy last week's episode. So I feel like it was like that midway, like in the center was like, okay, we could be good, but we may drop.
Disney's doing that thing. They're doing that undulating thing, like
They're like, you thought we were gonna go, we thought we were increasing, then you thought we were decreasing. We're here to mess with your mind. So, this episode for me, and I think are there 8 episodes? Did we establish there were 8 or 10? I can't remember.
Some sources said 10, some said 8.
Some said 8. Either
some
or.
Said 11,
either,
I don't know.
So that really means that next week is either the last episode or we have 3 more. But it's like this roller coaster now. I feel like I don't know if it's going to be an up episode or it's going to be like, damn, that was cool. Or if it's going to be like, this one where it was silly as hell. You did get to see a lot of characters, Easter egg characters that have been in the MCU continuity. A few, if you really look and squint, probably straight out of the comics. But at the same time,
which Valkyrie was it that helped? She helped Thor, and the one Thor's going to give the hammer to when he leaves. Oh, what's her name?
You saw her in the.
She's in the background when he's on the bridge and stuff. She's back there. She gets bummed out too when.
Because she was hanging out with Drax.
Yeah.
Wait. Because see, whenever you think about comics and people say Valkyrie, they think of Brunhild.
No. I don't think it was her. The one that was actually presented in Thor Ragnarok, I think. Hold on.
I've always called her Valkyrie. I know her. Hold on. And they don't have her girlfriend in it either, which is kind of messed up. But I've always thought in continuity. Well, to be fair though, Tessa Thompson plays her. But I've always called her Valkyrie. So I don't know if did she have another name?
I thought she did. Oh, let me.
All right, guys, put that below because I just thought I've been calling her Valkyrie this whole damn time.
No, I think she's
I just call her Valkyrie.
I just can't remember. Let me see.
Because I know, so when we talking about Brunhild, I know that's who most people associate her to be in the comics. But Valkyrie is like MCU has its own stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have their own continuities and everything.
Because they'll I mean, they will like shorten names out and stuff and make other people certain whatever the hell.
Well, maybe I should be looking this up because
I'm looking it up now. I'm trying to remember what her actual name is.
I thought they only called her Valkyrie. In the MCU, should I say? They only call everywhere I go, MCU continuity, I only see Valkyrie. Brunhild is in everything else, but I mean, so that's probably who she's supposed to be, I guess, but that's not what they call her.
It says Valkyrie here as far as MCU is concerned. But she had a name though, did she not?
I've never heard them call her a name. I mean, now to be fair, I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok in a spell. So if they did call her anything else, I missed it. But I've always called her Valkyrie. So
maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one that's
You're the weakest MCU link.
I mean, in this case, yeah, you're right. You're very right. Because I'm like, what the hell?
But I mean, I did see her hanging out with Drax and a bunch of other people in the background. But there were so many people. There were so many people. If you just blinked, you missed them. There's so many things.
There are a lot of characters. They
crazy in there. Yeah.
They threw a lot of characters into the fray on that one. It's like, oh yeah, and then there's Wolverine, He-Man. Optimus Prime was there.
Look, when I saw Elvis, I was just done though. I was like, all right, so this is what we're doing. We're doing this because of course we're in Vegas. We have to have Elvis the impersonator. So why not?
The thing is fun. They pulled the Howard the Duck thing like from the movie with I can't remember the character's name now. My brain's left me. And only thing is that in Howard the Duck movie, he didn't marry her. That didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, Howard the Duck has always been a running joke for Marvel. You know that. Everyone's like, oh, he saved Marvel Comics. I'm like, no, okay.
No. Actually, Howard the Duck slickly closed out what Howard the Duck is what was wrong with the 80s as a nutshell. Have you ever seen that movie? Everything that was wrong with the 80s is in Howard the Duck, honestly. And thanks to Howard the Duck, we went to the 90s because we were kind of done at that point. You know what? We see it now. Yeah, this is all bad. Let's try something different. This isn't.
I'm looking at your comments now, guy. I love what Mercer just said. Why does Howard the Duck always go after humans?
Because humans are sexy? I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Because bestiality is a thing, I guess. I mean, like I said, have we not seen Avengers issue 200? We know the comics are problematic. So I know a lot of people will say because comics, and that's pretty much why.
I would say for this reason. Because he's always drunk. And when you're drunk, I guess you don't mind interspecies romance. I don't know. The bigger question is, why do the women reciprocate it? That's the bigger question. Like, did you just let him in? How did you? What did he say to you that convinced you?
Oh, that's funny. You're not wrong.
Doug, that is terrible.
You're not wrong. Because as much as I love Inuyasha, let's be clear, they are dog demons. It's not like a human that turns into an animal. They are half that animal. So
he's walking around with dog ears and everything.
Yep. So I mean, it's a thing. It is
dog
a thing.
Ears, no toothpaste, and no soap. So like,
what if when we get to season 2, we find out all the episodes were supposed to be an hour, but they split all the episodes into 30 minutes? I mean.
How would that make sense? No, though I can see it's like if it was like it was on like CW or something. It was like a whole hour thing. It's like what if and this or here thing like submit it for your approval.
Goosebumps.
one giant man, one they might call a god, sent to his room to study to become more like his father. Yet he decides that partying was much better than all that nerd shit. Does he get what he wants? Will he get in trouble? Will his friends like him? Will he get a date? Let's find out. And what if? It's like if you did like that, that would be kind of neat. But that would be a gimmick they do for like one episode. They would never do it again.
Never.
Ever. We can afford to do this all year, but we're not going to do that. No, kids don't get this reference.
They don't. They really don't. And like I said, having Howard the Duck in there is just because it's a party. That's literally why he's even there.
Honestly, Howard the Duck has had more appearances in these what ifs than he has had in anything that Marvel has let out outside of that dumbass movie they did back in the 80s. Like he actually is showing up in these episodes with more dialogue and of course liquor and more dialogue. And he's there just to have something silly to say. So it's like, I think Howard the Duck is there so we can go, that's what I'll be doing right there. That's what I'll be doing. I can't fight nobody. I'm not a hero. I'm just going to sit there and kind of drink and mingle.
I mean, it's a thing. Ray said, so Loki never got his most promising power set if he was never adopted in this episode. He is just a frost giant. Yep, he never got any of his Asgardian powers, which are the most powerful he possessed. I agree. He's not a trickster. He doesn't have illusion ability. He just is really big and can get really drunk. Let's talk about Jane Foster in this episode, though. Girl she was in heat. It reminds me so much of the third episode, I believe it was, when all of the Avengers or candidates were being killed off by.
Oh yeah.
Remember when they saw Thor and they were talking about his hair, and they're like, his hair is luscious. It's all great. That girl she was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, as he turned around, just like a L'Oreal or Pert Plus commercial.
Yeah. But she walked up to him and she's like, I want to know about this planet. Did you guys blow this planet up? He's like, well, I mean, we didn't really blow it up. I mean, it's not really there. She's like, you wiped out a whole planet to party. And then she looked at her. He called her attractive. He's like, oh, you're very beautiful. And this is why most women like you and brilliant. And she got thirsty as hell. She was like, oh.
He pulled the bro move. The bro move. She's sitting there complaining about him. And I want to know, and this, and how dare you say, I never noticed how pretty your eyes are. Huh?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
We know from down there. Man, your forehead is so round, so soft. I want to caress your forehead. No, if that shouldn't work. If that has ever worked for anybody out there, telling a girl you want to caress her forehead, and she was like, hey, put that in the comments below. I have to know if somebody tried that and it worked. I highly ever.
I'm pretty sure they had a one night stand because she woke up in the bed. Her whole place was tore up. And then when Maria came to recruit her, all you heard in the background is there's a rabbit in the sink. And I'm like, so they're talking about, they're talking about Rocket.
Didn't they make that reference in the movie, though? Somebody called him a rabbit? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was Thor. Thor called him a rabbit.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I love this. This is so true. Thor and Jane have more chemistry in What If than in the MCU.
I swear to God. At least in the What If, they, did something fun and, had sex after meeting, instead of the weird tension they were having back and forth, and he was biting into mugs and shit.
Well, and I love how she actually was morally conflicted. I like him and he's hot, but he is messing up Earth. So let me call his mama because I think Maria's about to kill him. Because Maria was like, so this is what's going to happen. I'm like, yes, Captain Marvel is fighting him, but I'm going to go ahead and get these nukes basically and kill him. And they're like, well, what about Captain Marvel? She'll be fine. She's like, I am not. She's like, I get no F's to give in this episode. You came down here to party. I am not happy with it. You need to go home.
What tripped me up the most when she got a hold of Heimdall, and Heimdall was like, okay, I entertain this. Come here. And he's like, wow, I'm here for. And he just he sees her as I already know.
He already knew. Well, Heimdall, first, the way he was looking okay, first of all, how did they get down to Earth without him knowing?
You know what? I don't know. They must have took a ship. I don't know. They couldn't.
No, there's no way he would have known that they were, because he would have sensed that. He would have sensed them leaving, Asgard as a whole. Everybody left Asgard, Thor and all of his crew. The Asgardian warriors left Asgard. So yeah, the Valkyries and stuff are still there. They probably have other Asgardian soldiers, of course. But this was Thor's if he's the prince, this is his his protective service, basically. So why in the hell did he not realize all of them were gone?
It's probably to make fun of all those early movies, like First Kid, which is also a Disney film, by the way, where somehow it's all this bodyguards and all this. I don't know if you've ever seen First Kid. It's Sinbad.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, but anyway, he sneaks out the house more than once, and how does he keep doing that? There's Secret Service everywhere, guarding all parts of the perimeter. Somehow he keeps getting out and goes to the mall by himself. How are you doing this over and over again? So I think it's part of the mystery. Is how did he get there? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know Asgard. I've never been to Asgard.
Well, and they kind of did this with Wakanda too, because there's no world. The little T'Challa is going to be by himself playing on the outskirts, right at the barrier.
Throwing spears are running through. what were the odds that no one came and was like, none of the Dora Milaje was like, no, young prince, come back inside.
Yep. The fact that none of them were with him was a problem. Well, plus, I know we talked about this episode, but something always bothered me. Is it really that easy to get through that dome? Because when we saw Killmonger, when they closed the dome, their shit was getting like messed up. Like the robots that were coming in, they were getting cut in half. But yet T'Challa just went right through. I'm like, it wasn't even there. So I guess that was something I had questions about, and probably there was just so much to talk about that it slipped my mind. But now that I saw the Killmonger episode, they have established that dome doesn't play. So if you have this protective dome or force field, whatever you want to call it, over Wakanda, you should not be able to go in and out of it by walking through it. It should tear you the F up and disintegrate your body. So how did little T'Challa get out? So there's these little things. It's like, what if we have a plot hole? That's basically what I'm saying right there. But yeah, so back to this though. Yeah, Maria Hill did not give 5 fucks about taking out Captain Marvel or taking out Thor. Shield did not play in this version. They were like they're crazier than they are in actual continuity. And the fact that Nick Fury got knocked unconscious was funny.
That's why they were crazier. They knocked Nick Fury. They knocked Nick Fury the hell out. That happened.
Yep. Like, you need to leave right now. Like, well, he's out.
And it wasn't even on purpose. It was just a party foul. That's all it was. It didn't even mean to knock him out. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, all I know is when Frigga was coming to Earth.
Oh my God.
But it took her fucking forever. It took forever because Jane literally went to see her. Remember? And she's like, is this Chardonnay? I'm like, sure, let's have a girls' moment. Hey, you want to play some art? We can do that art and wine thing while we talk. And I'm like, yeah, your son's about to die, but I got time.
Funny because she was sitting there having a nice little drink. Like, oh, this is really good, and explain the whole story. And she just shows up. I think the fact when she showed up as a hologram image to scold her son, and Real was just like, never mind, don't worry about it. It's a take.
I do think that is funny. I love the fact that what got Maria to stop, with what they were planning to do attack wise with the weapons was like, oh, his mom's here. And she was like, Thor was like, he was acting like a little bitch. And then the fact that Captain Marvel brought him a history book on the human race and like basically everything Earth Earth studies wise that he claimed he was doing on his field trip to Earth. And he's just sitting there with it. Thank you. And it wasn't until he actually called for his hammer and sawed off part of it out.
Madonna had a bra on it and lipstick on it and Mardi Gras beads, all kinds of shit. I was like, what the hell? Dude?
And I'm like, the one thing you didn't check. But props for getting her back together. I mean.
But this nigga, he did go by her little trailer. It was like, hey, I mean, you knocked me to my mom. That wasn't so cool, but you helped out. So I mean, yeah, and I guess it was all right. So I guess since you finally sobered up a little bit, you realized that I might have went a little too far. Yeah, I should have.
Well, then he was like, you can take me on a date. He kind of looked like, what the hell is that? This date thing that you are talking about. But yeah,
it was kind of cute. Captain Marvel tried to help him in the end, though. She was like, oh no, here's a little note you're looking for. Yeah, it's okay. But it's funny because his mom knew. She was like, yeah, thanks for taking care of my son.
I thought that was hilarious. I
know you popped him a good few times. Thank you.
That was effing hilarious. But I mean, you could tell the way the mother was like bitter too. Because when Odin went to sleep, she was like, Odin sleep, cool, peace out. I'm gonna hang out with my sisters. So she goes and hangs out with the sisters. She gets interrupted by Jane. Then she tells the girls, well, I gotta go again. Early again. See you in 800 years.
It's like you do realize you ruined her mom's fun time. She is pissed at you right now.
Yeah, she was trying to vent about what it was like to be married to Odin and being the queen of all of Asgard, and trying to vent a little bit with her sisters and her peeps. And then you were like, because of your little camaraderie, she had to leave, and then she literally had to teleport. She had to go back to Asgard and then go to Earth. I'm like, there's not a straight shot. I mean, you can't just go from your sister's place, directly to Earth. Why did you just loop? I don't understand. So like I said,
yeah, she was not amused with his.
She was not.
Actually, think about it. I just forgot her name. Dang it. Oh man, not Darcy, Jane. There we go. I couldn't think of it for a second. Jane pulled a movie. Have you ever seen the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie? She did the same thing that Chilai did. It was like, wished Broly to go somewhere else. He didn't get killed by Goku and Vegeta. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, they about to die. Let me figure something out real quick. Let's take him away from all this. She saved him. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Captain Marvel's punch would have killed him. It'll definitely destroy half that planet. But like,
in theory, I think the actual Captain Marvel fighting Thor definitely would have he would have gotten his ass handed to him. The hammer does help, but I really feel like
Thor would have to be real strategic to defeat somebody who can punch that hard. But then again,
she was basically One Punch Man in his eye. I was like, wow. She was like, bam, a whole crater in the damn ground. And she's like, I'm holding back. I don't want to rip apart the planet. I was like, wow.
It's funny though, because like Thor, because he didn't really feel those punches until she hit him like in the Arctic. He was like, I felt that one. That kind of hurt. What are you doing? Yeah. That was mean. I don't know. Like, is that if Thor used strategy with the hammer is hard to beat. If Thor used strategy with the hammer, maybe, because she can't take the hammer off her chest. That's not going to happen. He could pin her somewhere and leave her, and she would literally be stuck there. Or if she was like, I don't give a damn what happens to this world, and hits him like for real, because Thor can't breathe in space. She can. So,
but you have to understand that Mordor, Thor's hammer, basically, you're basically saying, can Thor beat Captain Marvel? The answer is no, not the hammer. That's completely different. It's completely different.
Thor wields the hammer. If he got strategic with the hammer, he could pin her and stop her somewhere. But like,
but I mean, essentially, it would literally be the hammer that was beating Captain Marvel. That's the gist of it. It would not be Thor himself, not with his own skill level. If he's without that hammer, I mean, he's strong, but
that's what I'm saying. If Thor had the strategy of like Aquaman, for example, he might. But like Thor is not that. Even on the Thor that's not that silly ass Thor. Thor's fighting strategy is not that great. He just kind of rushes in and hits shit really hard.
I love how we just turned this into a damn versus. Like, what the hell? What just happened? But you're right. You're right. I feel like the hammer. So basically, Thor's hammer would have been the overall winner of everything. So we've established this.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to defeat that damn hammer unless you're like Death or something. Then you can break it.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Well, or just Captain America and be able to pick it up and be worthy for some reason.
I ain't gonna lie.
That'll make me
that movie, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool, but like, come on, man. Really?
The most important thing Odin ever did was go to sleep. Thor's words.
He did say that while having a drink and throwing the mug on the floor.
Yeah. As a human, I feel more comfortable with a powerful and robust shield as a check to coexist with the powered and enhanced and uniquely skilled entities that exist on Earth. I would not want to be a normal human, but if I couldn't be like a kick-ass, like superpowered being, and I only was allowed to have one power, I literally would have. I developed a character who has the power of unnoticeability, and what that means is, this character can concentrate on you are large groups of people and you are making a conscious choice to not realize that they are there. Like they're not invisible, but you just choose. You're basically choosing not to acknowledge their existence. So if aliens were coming like to take everybody, they're like, I'm terraforming the planet. I'm gonna take everybody to slate. I'm like, okay. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, but you don't notice me, even though I'm standing literally, I am touching you and you're choosing to walk around me. And I think that is a very scary power.
Like a perception filter. You have the power perception filter.
Yep. I mean, think about it, because when you're invisible, if somebody has like good, X-ray vision or night vision, they can still see your outline or whatever. But if you are making somebody's mind make a conscious choice to ignore you, they're making the choice to ignore your ass because you're making them. That is very scary. You can do actually anything. You literally could be sawing somebody's hand off, and then like, you're making the choice not to notice that. So. It's scary. So I think that would be the ability that I would want. I would want that's one of my characters in our motion comics. I would love to have that ability just to see what I could get away with. Because it's a hard power to beat.
You be in the house with somebody in the corner watching them. Like, you only see what you let yourself see. Who's there?
So I kind of like that. I think that would be a cool power. But it's when you have that many people coming to Earth. I always wonder, like, I know these are different Earths, but I always wonder what the regular people think when all the people keep popping up and like, motherfucker. Like when he like broke the arm off the Statue of Liberty, and like, or when Thor went and knocked down a Stonehenge.
Yeah, no, right there. These are weird unnecessary rocks.
No, he's like, what are these? And then Captain Marvel's like, well, actually, we don't know, but they're historical.
They're historical. Don't touch them. He's like, oh, okay. I'm going to do it anyway.
First thing he did was touch those damn rocks. I'm like, all right. But then what got me is that he had to put them back together, and like, how did you know what order they were in? You know,
pure teenage movie panic. That's what did it.
Yep.
Like 80s teen movie panic.
100%. I was just like, for me personally, I get like when he fixed the Leaning Tower of Pisa at the end. I'm like, but that wasn't something you needed to fix. Like, now you're just doing too much. That's how I know he was not paying attention, and he did not have a guide with him showing him how to fix this stuff. So I was really amazed that he was able to go fix half of the stuff that he did without any blueprints or photographs or anything or guides to tell him how to fix any of that stuff. So
that's the major plot on her episode was convenience. Everything was extremely convenient for the episode.
Yep, it was cheesy. I think you said that before the stream. It's just a cheesy little episode.
It's just a cheese. The episode is pure nacho cheese. This is cheese for the sake of cheese. You weren't supposed to be actively engaged that deeply. It wasn't like, ooh, and it's more like a, what the hell is this?
Even look, there were times when even you could see on Thor's face, he was even like, what the hell is this? So a question that I'm seeing is, what is our next versus that we're doing? And so we had we had 3 polls, I believe it was. We had Wolfsbane versus Pharaoh, which is one we were interested in doing.
Yeah.
Iceman versus Killer Frost, which I know you don't want to do. And then there's the one you really don't want to do, which is Blue Marvel versus Icon.
Because you know who I'm gonna pick.
Who do you think, just offhand, who do you think would win?
Icon.
So in the poll, out of 37 votes, Blue Marvel has 76% and Icon has 24%.
Because no one knows who that is.
That's not necessarily true. A lot of people that are subscribed to my channel are comic nerds, so I can't. It's not like some of the other ones. I gotta put it out there.
Not all of them know Icon. I talk a lot of people who read comic books and don't know anything about Icon at all.
So I know about Icon, and I do say that there is, and just like with all our other verses, there is some merit to the fact that Blue Marvel could defeat Icon, and that's only based on ability, power structure, and intelligence. Because we all know that Blue Marvel is an effing genius. But this is the thing. I'm trying to weigh which ones we're gonna do, because I like the idea of it, because I think when we break down the power set, it's gonna be a lot like our Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch, because everybody immediately thinks, okay, Scarlet Witch, but you don't realize that the underdog, Zatanna, is really effing OP.
If we were doing Icon, I remember I posed a question on a Facebook group a while back that people really having a hard time on. What I posed was Icon versus Silver Surfer. To me, that made way more sense. But Icon versus Blue Marvel, I don't know about that. Icon has so many damn powers.
So that's why, you know what? I think that I'm leaning towards that one. But let me tell you the other results. So Iceman versus Killer Frost, they have Iceman at 67%, Killer Frost at 33%. And I actually agree with that, because Iceman is literally a mega level mutant. So
I do, but man, that's just a weird. I want to say Killer Frost because she's ready to kill somebody, but Iceman's powers are well beyond Killer Frost's powers. His ice abilities are like, he could literally freeze her from the inside out without even having to go touch her. It's like,
I feel like a good comparison for her would have been Killer Frost versus somebody like Ice Maiden. That would make more sense. That would make more sense.
That would make more sense. Iceman,
or I guess continuity wise now with Marvel would be Luna Snow, I believe, is her comparison. So
yeah.
Who would win between Wolfsbane versus Pharaoh? 79% have said Wolfsbane, 21% said Pharaoh.
I mean, maybe.
So
that's a weird one, man. That's a strange. I had to study that one. I mean, I want to agree with them, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't know. Like 2 wolf-like characters. Shit.
I mean, it's hard. Like I said, it's interesting because they both have very different power sets. So
yeah,
similar but very different in a way.
This is like werewolves from this franchise versus werewolves from this franchise. Who would do it? That's what it's like. And it's like, I don't know. Whoever got lucky.
I mean, that's the thing, though. That is the thing. I mean, we have to think about. So, Latino says, I'm a fan of both Blue Marvel and Icon. So who do you think would win if they were fighting for their lives and they had one fight to basically save or destroy the cosmos, which I don't know why either of them would do that, but just say that's what
happens. At all.
Who would win in that fight, Latino? I want to know. I think this is what we need to do. We definitely need to do Blue Marvel versus Icon, because you are pro Icon winning and I'm literally pro either of them. Like I'm like in the middle right now in the holding area.
I mean, I remember when I first learned about Icon, like I was thinking back as in middle school, high school. I was like, man, this dude is outrageous. He's like Superman on steroids and far smarter. Like, it's crazy as hell. Like, who is this dude? And he's completely immortal. So it's like,
But again, we've learned from Scarlet Witch, being a Nexus being does not necessarily mean that you're going to win every fight. So, I mean, you got to think of it on that level too. But yeah, Ray said, give us something hard like Hope versus Sync.
Go sit down, Ray. Go sit. Go have a seat.
Sit in the corner. Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
I'm not doing that one.
Now, look, I'm gonna be a smart ass. You mean Hope, Lex's bodyguard? Yeah, I know nothing about that. Why do I know? Do you want to know why I know Hope's name? Because for the longest time, Lex Luthor his main bodyguard was Mercy, and then he finally got a black bodyguard named Hope, and I'm like, that's what that was. But yeah, so Tino says I'm leaning towards Blue Marvel having the advantage, but shout out to all my fellow Icon fans. Like I said, and a lot, like even Kevin said, my vote goes to Blue Marvel. This is what I'm saying. We need to break this down by abilities, by mental capabilities, by traumas versus non-traumas. All of that. All of these things make for a very interesting fight. We can't just be like, well, he could do this, so that means he automatically wins. That's not how that works. It is not. I've seen too many fights where the underdog wins. So, yeah.
I mean, we can if you want to do this one and want me to be like very strict on like what they can do, and me putting either how I would make them fight or who I feel like in a true analysis, I can, but I'm gonna piss a lot of people off if I do that. So instead of that, I'm gonna play more on more fan favoritism, silly shit, and playing with powers as a whole. Because if I really analyze, I'm gonna make somebody angry. I already know it. I always do.
That's fine. No, do it. Do your truth, man. I don't care about people getting angry. It's a versus thing. So you do your thing. Like I said, I'm in the holding area. I like both of these characters, so it's not a whole his balls are bigger than his ball situation. I really would love to know, in a straight up SmackDown fight, who would win. And I mean, and it really goes on. I feel like there's a lot of factors to that. I feel like, what are they fighting for? Where's that character in that time mentally? What are the abilities? What are the strategic? Is one person better at strategy? Because I found a lot that some of the strongest characters in comics are just really shitty when it comes to strategic measures. And they're
shitty at strategy because most comic writers don't know how to fight.
Because a lot of them feel like they don't need to.
That's also true.
So they I'm strong. I don't got to think about this. Just take you out. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. So yeah, I think that is going to be our next one. I think we should do Blue Marvel versus Icon. I think you should do exactly what you said. You should break it down by your research.
I will throw this one out. I will throw this one out from the beginning because I won't even use this argument. The fact that Icon is invulnerable and Blue Marvel isn't, but I'll throw it out the window from the start because that means from the beginning, you're talking about who can last the longest. Icon's going to just dominate him if you're talking about war of attrition. But I'll throw that entire strategy out because then I'm not playing fair. So I'll throw that out altogether and come up with a different way to make it all make sense. Because when it comes to invulnerability, that's just time at that point. Like, characters that are invulnerable are never written to the way they should be written. And when you have an invulnerable character, like even Superman's not invulnerable, he's nigh invulnerable. But Icon is truly invulnerable with a healing factor, no less. That's unfair. That's a complete, overwhelming trump card with characters. And even when it comes to putting them in comic books, people don't know how to do. It's like One Punch Man. They don't know how to really give him a fighting story, so they give him more of an existential crisis background. Like all One Punch Man's story in the manga is about how he deals with himself, not how he fights. Because he can be anything in one punch. Nothing is strong enough to fight him. Not even on a small.
Remember, they've blown up Blue Marvel so many times, even with an effing hydrogen bomb. He is he has a pretty high, you know, it's not, I guess it's not going to be on the level of icons, but he has a level of invulnerability.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying he's known to be nigh invulnerable. He can die. It just takes a whole lot.
It takes a lot to kill him. Yeah.
But
I mean, you have to put in some of his other powers in the scope too. Like I said, we need to go through all of his. He has so many abilities and powers that.
Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna put that in there, because then it becomes a power scaling of if Icon did this and this, or what if Icon did this and this and this, but maybe if Icon did this in order to find a way to destroy him, and or vice versa. And that's not a good versus play field.
Yeah,
that's more how do we kill each character. And that's
and then you also have to understand like their weaknesses too. Like I know with Blue Marvel, I think it's what neutronium, I believe it was.
I think so. It's some
from the neutral zone. This neutronium is the only thing that his weakness is. So I mean, you have to take that into fact that how do you kill somebody who has one freaking weakness that is very hard to get? I mean, that's pretty much his kryptonite. So I mean, I think that this is going to be an interesting one.
Because I don't think. Let me look that up. I don't think because neither one of them have the ability to make matter like Firestorm or some shit like that. They can't do that. Neither one of them. Not that I know.
Hold on. Well, he has antimatter manipulation.
Which one? Who are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Blue Marvel has antimatter.
Yeah. But then again, Ico doesn't have any of those weaknesses. Ico doesn't have any weaknesses.
Yeah, I was right. It's neutronium. So he's only weak against the substance from the neutral zone, neutronium.
Yeah,
so. Look at that. Look at those. Look at that memory skill. Look at that.
That's a good memory skill. I'm not gonna lie. Because then Ico doesn't have it.
Don't get used to it because I will have it all the time.
But Ico doesn't have any of those weaknesses though. I had to really look up into them and find out, because this is like the same thing when people ask like that question, like who will win between like I can't remember his name now. Fuck. The one that rides a motorcycle with the skull face. Why am I forgetting?
Ghost Rider?
Thank you. I kept wanting to say Nick Cage.
I really just it's actually Nicolas Cage. It's not a character. It's Nicolas Cage on the weekends.
But no, like it's like Ghost Rider and Spawn. Who would win? It's like, why are we playing this game? Like, come on, man. Because it gets weird. But I mean, I can make this argument. I gotta look at it for real. Like, really look at each one of the characters, their powers, the fights they've had in the past, how they actually fight, to make sure I know how either one of them put on top of the scenario. But I would throw out the vulnerability part out, because that becomes more than a contest of how do you kill each character, and I agree with that. But I like ours the way we do it, because I mean, we don't have to come at this as a heavy debate. We actually could just say, hey, well, what happened if they use this? What do you think would happen if they use it? It doesn't have to be this whole, but they gonna win because of this. Like, I don't like watching those. That they bore me. They bore me when people are just that's
each other.
That's what Screw Attack does all the damn time. That's right. I threw shade.
No, I mean, some people are in their feelings right now about Jade and Stargirl, because Jade's only been in one episode, and they're like, they've been advertising this, and it's like, where the hell is she? So I mean, my theory is she's off trying to find Obsidian, because the CW can't afford Green Lantern special effects right now. They saving all their pennies so John Diggle can do it in the crossover. We can't give it all to you, Jade. Like, come on now.
Everybody knows John Diggle is very expensive.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, they're saving a ton of money by having Beth is Dr. Midnight, because besides her goggles that they use like sparingly, she don't do anything. So and I hate that, because I love her character. And so they're saving a little bit of money. And our man hasn't used his damn abilities in how long? He had one fight.
Because animation is expensive.
Yep. The staff isn't even getting a lot. I think that budget went down when CW took over for Stargirl. They're like, all that stuff you were seeing last season.
Oh yeah,
money not happening. Well, so they're gonna start getting the whole CG, the Flash treatment.
That's such evil to wish on somebody.
Yeah, this whole conversation makes me want a live action Blue Marvel or Icon series.
They'll never give it to us.
Never.
Well, no, they won't. They won't give it to us because they don't have enough lore to play off of. And then what they'll end up, if they did decide to make one of those movies at all, they'll make up a whole new. They'll recreate the canon. They make them like they were human first, and they got touched by like a meteorite, like Meteor Man or some shit. And then they'll make them where they have all these parameters and weaknesses and barriers and all this other nonsense, and then make them some kind of symbol like MLK, but give them a white savior. They'll ruin it. Don't ask for that. If you want it, make it yourself. Make an indie film. Don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. Many people did not know this, but Nicolas Cage was aware he was being filmed when they recorded Ghost Rider. They just filmed him as he was going about his day-to-day life. So I guess you're right. That skeleton was running around on the motorbike.
Please don't do this. Don't Chuck Norris, Nick Cage. Please don't. Don't do it.
Oh my gosh.
You might pull the Ultra Instinct Shaggy out and Nick Cage make Nicolas Cage just like looking down at Goku and stuff. I'm only using 4% of my power, Goku.
Look, Ray said, Dr. Midnight, Beth is support and needs to hang back. So let me stop right there. That is what bothers me, because as an Infinity Inc., and I've said this to the heavens, guys, I am an Infinity Inc. fan. I love that comic series. Dr. Midnight in the comics, that girl could fight. She had 6 or 7 brothers. Her daddy was a priest or a pastor. She was a pastor's daughter. The first in her family to go to college, according to the comic books, became a surgeon early because she's effing brilliant, but she was a gymnast when she was in high school. So she had gymnastic ability. She had combat training. She was a doctor. She was a real brilliant researcher in science. She's the reason the Hour Man was alive, because literally after a while, his Glock started poisoning his heart, because that's what happened to his dad. And she found a way to actually develop a serum to keep Hour Man alive, and so he could still use his powers. That girl in the comics is badass. They don't have any of that for this character, which to me is an injustice, because we've got Wildcat, who basically is Yolanda, and she has all of Yolanda's skills already. We have Hour Man. He's got, technically the limitation was put there by his dad. There really shouldn't be a limitation, but it's hard on your body. But he has all his abilities. We got Stargirl. Obviously, she has her abilities. Beth is the one that's getting the really shit end of that stick, and that's really sad. I feel really bad, because in a sense, you are absolutely right on that line that she needs to hand back and be support because she does not do anything. But that is a writing problem. This is how they develop this character. I am hoping that she's going to see that she's holding the team back and then want to trade and want to learn to do something and not be the one that everybody has to protect when they go out there, because Rick always has her back. You can see it. And again, they were lovers in the comics. So I think that they're probably either going to be BFFs like they are right now, because she talks to him about everything, or they're going to go down that whole, eventually they're going to hook up and get together route. But he always has Beth's back because he knows she can't fight. So, it's sad. It's sad. Second to Courtney, we're talking about Yolanda. Okay, so why they let her basically run off Yolanda makes me bent. Second to Courtney, she is the most useful than Hour Man and Google Girl. Like I said, if you are an Infinity Inc. fan, you understand the dynamic of this is completely different in Stargirl than it was in the comics. They were older, they were in their 20s. And Yolanda and Beth were BFFs. Rick was Beth's boyfriend. They were lovers in the comics. Courtney was off doing her own thing. Eventually she hooked up with Atom Smasher, and it looked really inappropriate. That. He was way older than her. And they got a lot of controversy about that. Actually, she was with Shazam at one point too. And I remember in the comics, because people didn't know he was actually her age. He was 15 or 16 at the time, and she was 16. And they didn't realize that this big Shazam guy that was making out with Courtney was actually a 16-year-old, because he wasn't allowed to tell his identity. So comics, man, I don't know what to tell you. But when they develop something like this, it's very obvious that they did not spend a lot of time developing Beth's character. And they need to do better, because she has a lot of potential. She's not just the nerd who talks to her goggles Chuck, because that's literally what we got. And it makes me mad. So wasted character assassination. They need to fix it. I still love her. I still love the character. I think the actress who plays her is adorable. But yeah, I just had to put that out there because, as a fan of Infinity Inc., I know what she's supposed to be like. Her mother actually looks a lot more like her. The one that plays Beth's mother, the surgeon, the doctor. That to me, that's Beth Chapel. So it is a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing.
What's the next question? Because you were on a soapbox now, and I was like, let me go ahead and take a step back.
Well, now Ray was like, I can see something with her and Rick. I thought it was going to be Yolanda, but that ended with Brainwaves Jr.'s deaths. She on Daria Gothmoth now. She is. That girl, she's got some problems right now. I'm gonna tell you though, I don't know how. I still don't know how she gets out of the house to be Wildcat, but whatever. You saw that in my if you wouldn't see my Arrowverse weekly recap is what I changed the name to. Then I talk about all that yesterday. I have lots of questions. Lots of questions. I want to see the Sentry versus General Zod. Oh Lord.
I'm so confused on General Zod all the time.
Who is it?
And I'm always confused on General Zod because it's like he shouldn't have lost to Superman. He really shouldn't have. He should not have lost. And the fact they make him lose, like in the first time they made him up and he got put into the what's called the dead zone. Damn it. Too many fan things in my head. But he was put into the help me out, Maria. The dead zone of Dragon Ball.
I was gonna say Phantom Zone, but I just wanted to make you sweat.
No, it is Phantom Zone. The Dead Zone's a Dragon Ball Z movie. No, because in Dragon Ball Z, it's a movie called The Dead Zone, and it's a place where they sing.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
Look,
my brain did all this.
You're only 10 years younger than me, so your brain's not that. You're losing your faculties too. Once you hit your 40s, like me, it's over. But
I am.
It's what it is.
My job helps with that.
I get it. But no, it was the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, but that made sense. He had to manipulate him or trick him to get into it and knock him into it. But like in that Superman movie they had in Man of Steel, fucking stupid. How the hell you beat him in hand-to-hand combat? This man's the same powers you have. He's already stronger than you by physical capabilities, like this from training at home. And then he has actual martial training. How did you win that fight? How did you have to break his neck? That doesn't make any sense. Even on the levels like, well, he can snap his neck. He's super strong. He's fighting a super strong person that's stronger than he is. You ever try to break somebody's neck? It's very difficult to do. People are resisting. It's just like that's why you choke them out first, put them to sleep. It doesn't. I digress. I will
say in Silver Age, he didn't have as many abilities as Superman, or he didn't have time to develop them as quickly.
Yeah.
So I can see that, but
they give him all the powers in these recent adaptations, and it's like when you do that, Superman's going to lose. He can't win that fight. He needs help, and no one can really help him. Maybe Batman with a kryptonite thing. That's what he always does. He always comes in with. Batman always has some kryptonite in his belt somewhere to put Superman in his place somewhere. He always does that. But I mean, but between the Sentry and General Zod, I don't know. I want to say Sentry because he's a hero, but like Sentry also doesn't like fighting. He has to be forced into that corner.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
It's all right. Sentry's still dealing with the Illuminati, so we gotta leave him alone. But no, I mean, I get your point with that. I don't know. If you really want to make it risque and get people angry, then have Batman versus Zod, and then have Batman win.
You know what's funny?
Because he will. He will.
I could definitely think where that would work. It'll be so convoluted and ridiculous, and I'll make so many people upset. Like, well, that's only if because Batman's planning. He's been planning all night. He already knows what he's gonna do, and you can't stop him because he's Batman. That's right. I said it. No, that'd be funny. I like that one. Batman.
Yeah, but you know my feelings on that. Like Batman needs to get his ass on Linda's couch immediately. Like I'm tired of this. I'm tired of nobody talking. F the powers, F the non-powers, F the strategic contingency plan crap. Why is nobody telling this man to go to therapy? He need to go to therapy since he was 10 years old. Nobody. Not even F and Alfred. Alfred is a bad parent. He should be like, boy.
Because if Batman went to therapy, there would be no more Batman. He'd be like,
you don't know that? He might be like Thomas Wayne. He'd be like, you know what? I see a lot of corruption in my city. Let me go make it happen. I mean, yes, he was inspired by Bruce's death, but still, he
would go to therapy and then join the police force. That's what would happen.
And then he'd be in GCPD and he'd be like, oh, everything corrupt. Okay, I see how this is. I'm a billionaire. I'm gonna take care of this problem. And then he'll just be like Iron Man.
Batman with the iron bat suit or whatever.
I said Linda's couch groove. He needed to be on Linda's damn couch. That's all I'm saying. It's what we doing.
Man.
I'm sending everybody to Linda every day. Like in my real life, when people are just problematic, you got those coworkers, especially my spouse's coworkers. I'm like, Linda's couch. Linda's effing couch. So like, and I'll even say it to people on the slide. They don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They're like, so you need to see Linda. I told my daughter the other day, you want to see Linda. Time to see Linda.
I see Linda. Just that says. So, what makes you feel like you can't be the knight, the Dark Knight? What does that mean to you?
Why are you dressing like a bat? What is
it? Do you like bats?
You were scared of bats, and then you
dress like a bat.
Like,
well, I understand you're trying to face your fear of bats by dressing like one, and that's fine.
No, I don't like clowns, and there's no way in hell I'm dressing like one. So that's
that's why Joker wear face paint, because he hates clowns. Like that's how he faces his fear, and it drove him insane.
Why? This you know what? You know what? Do you, Booze? You just do you. Mr. Terrific had the best braids. They did that, and he had his metal ball computers. I guess his braids are part of his helmet as well.
Yes.
Guardian. Yeah, like I told you guys yesterday during our stream, our recap for Supergirl. I like Guardian's suit, but it really reminds me a lot of Anissa of Thunder from Black Lightning, and like it's almost like recycled materials. Like we're just gonna design that suit just like this, and we have braids on the braids. And look, the braids were on point, but are they gonna stay on point? Because even the most highly textured synthetic wigs eventually break down. She gonna be in the middle of the fight. She'll be like, "Hold up, hold up, they're coming down."
Spraying them with Teflon. They're gonna stay there forever.
Now she's gonna look. She can be in the middle of the build in the field. They're gonna have to come back. I need you to help me braid this. You get the back of the front. Like Kevin's like, yes, Mr. Terrific's braids were on point. I mean, it's not wrong. Now they weren't in the Arrowverse. Let's be clear. He didn't have him in the Arrowverse. But yeah,
one day come with more of those kind of videos, like versus Mr. Terrific versus The Question. That'd be a fun fight. That'd be fun to see. No lie, that'd be a fun one to come up with.
Yeah,
y'all want to always come up with people who has the most powers. Like, why not people who can just hand-to-hand combat? Like,
who can braid the most are the best.
Who can braid the best?
Who can braid the best? Mr. Terrific versus effing Anissa Thunder. Like, go. General Zod, in all honesty, should have tested Superman with his superior genetics and experience on a rational level. The only thing is the initial fight should have been his only chance to win. So I think he had main character insurance, and that's how he survived.
Yeah, if you're talking about the Man of Steel movie, he had the advantage from the very beginning. And it was weird. They were on that planet in those suits, and they were still working Superman regardless. Before they even realized they can take that outfit off and get power from the sun, they were still kind of overpowered, which means like that. I think it was meant to imply that Kryptonians are naturally stronger than humans, period, regardless if there's no sun or not. Which is always weird to talk about the yellow sun, but the sun isn't yellow. Maybe on their world it is, but the sun in itself is really not yellow. It's white. Actually,
but in on their Earth,
yeah, their Earth is yellow. Yeah,
it's yellow. Like, on my Earth, it's sky blue. So
the sun is sky blue. That'll be scary as hell. The sun turned blue.
It would literally creep me out if I was up there and saw a big blue ball. I'm like, no, it's time to go.
if the sun turned blue, we'll have nothing but summer for the rest of our lives. That's a hot ass sun. That is dangerous.
I mean, that's Alaska.
Like, right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Only 4 degrees.
Let's see. I'm all over the place with these comments. I'm getting to you guys. Realistically, yes, have braids in combat and bad, but this is comic and it looks cool. Honestly, let's be legit here. Let's make this equal footing, okay? We're not gonna call anybody out, but anybody. I don't care if it's braids. I don't care if it's Kate Kane's. Like, technically in the comics, it's Kate Kane's hair, but in Arrowverse, it's a damn wig. It is problematic. If you are a superhero and you have really long hair, you need to put your hair up.
Yeah.
Because they're going to grab your hair and they're going to take your head and they're going to slam it into the damn ground because your hair is literally a liability. I'm like,
I mean, beyond your hair getting snatched. Oh, your microphone's all sailed. But no. beyond your hair getting snatched, it'll get in your face. It gets in your eyes and all this stuff. Like,
yeah. Well, and then also you're just like, because I mean, that's what I would think to do. We both train in martial arts, and you know how people they look for stuff. They look for weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
So like, you want your hair coming back, and you swung around, look, to try and like, say you try to do a sidekick on me. You know how that braid always goes to the side. You grab it and like, not today, bitch.
Okay.
I don't know. Especially I think roundhouses. If you have long hair, you just SOL. Like, it's the first thing I'm gonna grab. So like, I don't know.
If y'all ever had your hair pulled, it's not a fun experience.
Yeah. Now, come on, Maria. We all know Sherry would outbraid them all. Look, hold up.
No,
she's a princess. She may not be braiding her own hair.
Everybody paid attention to T'Challa. Everybody was all about the child this, the child that.
Yeah,
she was probably braiding her baby doll hair. She was real little. And coming up with theorems on how to make the sun cold because
she's like, yeah, I just invented a new way of basically forming technology across the borders of what will someday be Krakoa. While I did my hair.
Talking to the dog.
I've also come up with a cure for COVID.
Like just braiding the doll's hair, like, I found a new way for nuclear fission. I can shut off the sun. But I won't because I like eating sugar cereals. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm glad you're a child still.
Yeah, unless you have living hair like Medusa from Inhumans. That's still problematic.
No, braid her hair too. I bet if you braid her hair, you look at Return to Stone.
That's like Sindel in Mortal Kombat. They were still grabbing her by her hair.
Yeah.
They were beating her with her hair.
Like, she used the weapon. They were like, excuse me, girl, it's just hair. Like, oh, well, that mess. Then again, you think about it, because Inuyasha's hair goes all the way down to his ass crack, and for some reason, nobody ever grabs his hair and jacks him up. You notice that? It's so weird. Like, he has so much hair, it could get caught on something behind him, yet it never does. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
No, like I said, it's just for me personally. I always thought that hair's liability in terms of, because like, when you see Star Wars and Leia had that long hair and she always had it up in buns, she did that because she knew that death was upon her when she had her hair down. They don't do that in comics. Like, I love this comment. What happens if they go through laser scanners to get to a safe and the braid hits one of the light beams in the grid? I'm glad you said that, because in the episode of Flash, they showed Sue Dearborn did this whole like strategic flip ballet type scenario where she's going through the lasers to get to the safe with her hair down. I'm like, what's the point of you doing this when your hair could be like, well, bam. If I fling my hair out, I'm going to hit shit.
It is that.
No.
It's that weird myth that
I don't get that at all.
You know how to move your hair where you want to move. That is not how hair works.
Yep. I'm glad you guys are on my channel and my stream. I'm going to give you some life lessons about how, especially female comic characters, make zero sense. Mm-hmm. When your hair is down, you're going down.
Yeah.
When you have large boobs, and this is speaking to someone who has a large chest, you are not going to outrun anybody because your back is going to go out before you get to them. That's what my running joke is. My boobs would take me out long before the serial killer. I'm like, so the fact that these women in no bra, by the way, they have on zero bras, wearing they're like, what is it? Those little the aerobic gear.
Yeah.
Running around. Oh, no, your boobs will be like bam, bam, bam. You're right down the street.
They must have.
I call BS on that.
Unless somebody has been punching them in the chest for like the past 5 years. That I don't. That's a lot of flesh pulling you back and forth, up and down, and I don't know.
Yeah,
that'll be painful. Like,
and my other point is, well, I'm sure a lot of you will agree. And me being queer, I could speak from both sides. When I see a hot comic book woman jumping down from something with no skirt, or the skirt is like this tall, the fight's not happening because we're ogling. We're like, well, damn, she's hot. We don't have time to be worrying about strategic, anything and fighting anything. The villains sitting there be like, oh, I'm gonna beat you. No, they're not. That's not the kind of beating they're talking about. Nope.
It's just, I don't know. Some characters some characters they will make ogle. Like, I don't know, Ollie and Arrowverse, I don't know. But in the comic books, he was very like, oh.
Ollie slept with both mama and daughter of Dinah, Dinah and her mom.
Ollie is how Batman should have been, honestly.
I mean, in that regard, yeah, I think that's funny. I'll let you whip your hair back and forth. I mean,
that song makes sense now.
Stomping heavy chested and she still be doing the damn thing. Yes, that's what Ray. Sometimes you just gotta be out there in these streets. We always joke about how dangerous our city is. And just yesterday, on the news, I heard this is actually towards where Groove lives a little bit. Not, I think you're closer than I am.
You talking about in Collierville?
Yeah, what happened with the Kroger? The Kroger grocery store, the employee, I guess disgruntled, just fired.
I know what happened.
3 people, I think, were died, and 12 people were injured.
No, it was so. I know more about it because a friend of mine at work, his wife knows somebody at work at Kroger the day it happened. Oh, the guy, it was a sushi chef, this Asian dude, I think he's Vietnamese, he got fired. And that pissed him off. So he went out and just shot people. And he fired, I think, 12 rounds. The last round was for himself. He killed himself. But he hit 13 people and he killed one.
Well, I updated it an hour ago. It's 2 people that are dead now.
One was now?
Yeah, one got taken to the hospital and they said they succumbed to their injuries.
Okay, that's a recent. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so 2 dead. So total of 13 people shot, but there two of them died.
Yeah.
And just 5.5 hours ago, there was a shooting in FedEx parking lot. I'm like, so I'm like, COVID is not deterring our city at all. No. We have violence and shootings every single. I mean, if we don't hear about a shooting in our city, something is wrong. We get scared. I mean, we're like, oh hell no, this is Armageddon.
It's crazy out here in Memphis. Yeah.
It's crazy. 901.
Collierville is a nice area. Collierville is really nice.
Yeah, and I remember a friend of mine moved to Minnesota, and he was in line, and I guess he was being rude. He had his phone, and somebody video chatted him in the middle of the line, and somebody turned around and said, "You're being rude." He said, "Man, I'm from 901," and literally the man was like, "My bad." The man literally is like, "My bad." I was like, "Damn." So can't go anywhere.
I mean, that happens. Like if you ever go to Nashville, like a Nashville con or something like that, and you tell you're from Memphis, they immediately back away from you. Like, whoa, like where are you from?
Because we survivors.
Like what the hell? Then they watch a little bit. Like, what are they gonna do something? No, man, I'm not. Shut up.
Yeah, we get a bad rap, but some of it unfortunately is warranted. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes
it reminds me of what a crazy man came to Walmart with a machete. We've seen that. There was a man. I live in Midtown. There's a man literally running up the street with 2 knives with no clothes on. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I'm like, all right. And it's so commonplace here. People just look and just go the other way. Like,
hold on. What if he tripped and fell?
That's on him. Shouldn't have been run down the street making with knives in your hand.
Didn't they teach you a kid to run with scissors? What the hell?
Oh, it's funny. I wish even though Kevin doesn't want to acknowledge the Marvel TV universe, that he would make an obsession for Quake to be along Nick and Maria Hill. Which, like Coulson has been in episodes too. They show S.H.I.E.L.D. It's so stupid. Like I said, no. Mm-mm. Let's see. Low key conspiracy theory. I think the Inhumans TV show was secretly made by the CW.
Low key my ass, high key. It might be true. Now they took inspiration.
Hands down, Quake versus Wolverine is one of my favorite storylines at the Orders of Fury. Well,
really?
I like anytime that they show Wolverine up.
Actually, yeah. Because I don't know what happened, man. You know what? I know why Wolverine got popular in the 90s. Because of Ninja Turtles. Everybody liked Raphael. And he had like the side.
Wouldn't he be more associated with Shredder? I'm like,
you think so, right? But no. I remember as a kid when Ninja Turtles was, still brand new and the cartoon more so than the comic book and everybody was all up in it. Raphael was like kind of hands down everybody's favorite turtle. So like, next to him maybe Michelangelo. And I think because I like Raphael so much, why Wolverine got that spotlight because he had the same claws and the attitude and stuff. And I think they kind of pushed to the format. That's what kids like, attitude and sharp objects. It's like let him do it.
I mean,
then they're like,
"This really likes it." People like sharp things on their hands. Everybody, you remember those kids that used to put knives on their hands, used to cut the crap out of yourselves because it was stupid. It's like when Power Rangers came out and they tried to jump off the freaking tarp at their house, thinking, and they like break like every bone in their body, and then they're like, "I'm still a ranger." Train harder, son.
Because let's be real, kids are stupid. But then at the same time, like I don't know, it was a very dark and broody time because then they went from that and they're like, oh, now let's bring out Batman. Let's make him dark and broody. That was a brilliant idea. That was genius. But I mean, like and they give him the little spikes on the gauntlets and everything. Like y'all was really about spikes and pointy things and sharp objects and being like serious.
Yeah.
And then like in 1996 happened, everybody was like, all right, this is party. A bunch of teen movies and bad pop music.
Well, I mean, the Ninja Turtle movies got kind of crazy, like with the Go Ninja, Go. Vanilla
I
Ice.
didn't hate the second one. Like, I didn't. It's the third one for me. I was like, oh man.
Like, well, I mean, I was just happy we were getting Ninja Turtle movies. So
that's true.
You know, but at the same time, though. Yeah, that the soundtrack from Vanilla Ice. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? Also, was Cloak and Dagger. Was Cloak and Dagger any good? I only saw the first season. I enjoyed it. I love the Runaways though. So
full disclosure, I never watched Cloak and Dagger at all. Not even one episode. I've never came to it. It looked to me like it wasn't gonna be very good, so I didn't watch it.
From the first, I saw the first season. The first season was actually really good.
Really?
Yeah. It's not 100% comic, continuity, but then again, they took liberties with the Runaways, and I really like the Runaways. So, and it's the same. It was literally the same production team that handled both, and they had a crossover episode in the Runaways. So, yeah, I mean, you have time to check it out. It should still be on Hulu.
All right. I mean, I might just watch it because
it's a Hulu original. It's not a CW original, so there's that. And CW wouldn't get involved with that anyway because it's Marvel. So. But it definitely is not considered MCU. I think he is not canon for MCU at all, which is sad.
No, that makes perfect sense, honestly. Because, like, I don't know, man. It's just sometimes when they come up with the series, like Netflix did pretty okay. I will say pretty okay. I will never I like Luke Cage, and I like
I mean, they messed up Luke Cage's connection.
Yeah,
and with Jessica Jones, and like obviously Iron Fist. And Mercedes were lovers in the comics, and they messed that up. No universe where he was banging Colleen, but that's fine.
No,
they like we just gonna mess everything up.
That's my problem. They take too much liberty with it. Like, don't take too much liberty. Like, I know a lot of folks don't know these characters are for real, but don't like the people who are going to watch it are going to like, oh man, did everything right, and people who've never seen it be like, oh, that's how the story goes, and everybody's kind of caught up together instead of like, well, what if Daredevil like had a secret twin brother? Like, don't do that. Don't.
But they're bored. They gotta do something. I remember when the Ninja Turtles brought in Venus, she became my favorite with her shamanist powers, and then my mind was blown when I found out they were in the same universe as Power Rangers. And yep. But now at this point, the TMNT is in everybody's universe. They've had a crossover with Batman.
Shit, they have, and Rick and Morty. They can go anywhere they want to too. I wasn't a big fan of Venus. I didn't like that too much, honestly. That wasn't for me. It really wasn't like, and I don't mean to say it'd be like, a contrarian or whatever. I just never I don't know. It felt like this really weird rush contrivance just for the sake of making a female character and making like a Power Rangers number. And I was like, I get the point. I get the goal on that one, but I don't know. I just wasn't a fan. I wasn't. And it kind of broke that whole ninja mold. You know what I mean? It was just, I don't know. It wasn't. I wasn't a fan of it. Not really. They have another turtle though now. I'm just trying to remember what her name is. Oh, I can't remember. It's like a regular name though, kind of, sort of. Hold on.
A new female turtle?
Yeah, she's not even new. She's been out for like about a couple of years now. What's her name?
Because I know about Venus. I mean, I know Venus de Milo.
It's not Venus. It's not Venus de Milo. It's someone else. Janika. That's her name.
Oh, the foot assassin one.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
The one in the, I think she's wearing a yellow bandana.
You don't understand how my 45-year-old brain is happy, or almost, I'm not 45 yet, almost 45-year-old brain is happy that I was able to pull that little information based on that name out, because I'm tired. My memory should not be working right now.
Oh, no, you did. Oh, you did very good. Usually I'm much better at remembering Ninja Turtle lore because I'm really big on it.
Yeah.
I've been working too long and too much this week. So like, I'm just like, now I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. I'm just like, my brain is fried. When me forgetting names and stuff like that, it's not my usual MO. I'm just like, I'm trugging along. That's what's going on here.
I mean, I get it. That's called real life, people.
Yeah.
Jessica, the gem of the Netflix series. Awesome, no hero like her. She's an interesting character. I like Jessica Jones in the comics too, but again, she's married to Luke, and they have a beautiful mixed daughter named Daniela that we'll never see in the Netflix continuity because they messed all the continuity up. So there is that. And what they did with Hellcat was a shame, because Hellcat had nothing like Trish. They made that girl a straight up psychotic.
Did they call her Hellcat in the Netflix version? I don't think they did. I think they just called her Trish the whole time.
No, Trish became Hellcat. Remember, she purposely made that let them experiment on her, and she became Hellcat the last season.
Yeah. That was season 2, wasn't it?
That was the last season. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a mess, and they made her batshit crazy. So I mean, but Trish was
that's
always
fair.
that type. But she was abused. It was all trauma and stuff. But that's not her story.
Yeah,
no,
comics, it's not. It's not at all.
And so I always remember her. I think one of her first appearances was in Spider-Man. I remember her trying to hook up with Peter, and I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
I wish I'm ready for the Defenders to show up eventually in like a Spider-Man comic or a Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man movie. I mean, we don't know. That could be what happens in this new one. We have no idea what the multiverse.
Yeah, they have MCU. That trailer showed so much and so very little.
Yeah,
like, I don't know what you only know. You know how the events start. You don't know what happens after the fact. There's so much mystery in it. Like, y'all are some assholes. I'm so curious.
Pieces of crap.
What do I get to see? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
God, Jesus, I mean,
I will give you that. That is messed up.
It is. It got my hopes up. And I say it like I've already seen it. Like, no, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. I'm pretty sure this movie that Jesus, I can't think of any movie right now. I'm sure that movie is gonna be one of the better MCU movies of this second generation launch of movies. I just feel like it will be. Because
we're all leading the Secret Invasion, and everything is eventually going to Young Avengers. So I mean, we know where we're headed. We just got to figure out how they're going to get there. But my biggest thing, this is my heart of hearts desire, guys. I love Agents of Atlas. I love the Atlas Foundation. I love we have Jimmy Woo. I love that they keep hinting, like even with Monica Rambeau. At the end of WandaVision said, you definitely are a good leader to him. I'm like, because he's literally the head of the Atlas Foundation. Yeah. I want to see Yellow Claw. I want us to be able to get all of these characters that we normally don't get in MCU. I want Arrow, I want Wave. I want I really want White Fox. Love White Fox. There's so many characters I want.
This is how jacked up my head is right now. You said you don't see Yellow Claw. My brain is going Panther Claw. That's what I said in my own head when you said that.
Get out of cutie, honey. I told you stop. Yellow Claw, basically, who really was a loyal follower of the Atlas Foundation. That they literally made him be a supervillain to make Jimmy look good because Asian men weren't seen as powerful and respected. So if we have him catch this international crime villain, a whole syndicate of criminals, then that will give him a clout, and then everybody will accept him as a basically respectable, high level, power ranking leader of our organization. And that's the whole reason we even had Yellow Claw. And I don't know in the MCU if we've even had this storyline established, because they kind of made him feel like he hasn't done anything. His introduction in Ant-Man was ridiculous. He was a lot better and stronger, in WandaVision, and that makes me wonder: did something happen between the Ant-Man movie, and him, the second Ant-Man movie, and him?
That's a good question.
That makes sense. I need to know.
Well, they don't explain that. They leave it up in the air, and they're probably not going to explore it either. I highly doubt it.
If they don't, they're going to piss a lot of people off.
But then again, hold on. Let me take that back. They may explore, but not. They probably won't use all the lore they can to introduce it, even though they are doing the Immortals, which is neat and kind of fucking cool. I mean, Immortals Eternal, Jesus Christ. But I don't know if they're going to take it that far to explore that depth of the character. I think they might make him a one-off. Not a one-off as they'll never use him again, but they may make him a sole character and not include it too much. I don't know. Because I
want them to at least introduce those characters, because even Silk was with the Agents of Atlas, and so if we have Spider-Verse and we have Silk, which I don't know why we wouldn't, having Cindy be an Agent of Atlas representative, and that's how we bring Jimmy in. He could be like the Nick Fury. Basically, he is like the Nick Fury of the Atlas Foundation. So it would be cool as hell. I don't know. I don't know
because that's a whole lot of characters introduced, and I don't know if they're gonna. Because if you put all those characters, or you want to introduce an organization, they'll start throwing in Easter eggs and other characters they might be in here. And I don't know how far they plan on doing this billing, and I don't know if they're gonna have a phase 3 or 4. I have no idea. Then again, let me not. I'm speaking too soon because I would never have predicted Endgame for the MCU phase 1 that we went through. So
you want to think that they are trying to at least be, kind of progressive in their plots. They have outlines for years. We'll have phase 70. You never know. You never know. But again, I guess it's just hard because there's so many characters that people just do not know about, like out there. And it's sad. It's just, I find all of it sad. And like the Atlas Foundation, I mean, especially if you want to have an influx of Asian, heroes, you have to include them because most of them are associated. A big chunk of the Marvel characters are in some way or fashion associated with Agents of Atlas.
Yeah.
So, or the Atlas Foundation.
Because there's so many organizations in the Marvel Comics universe. And Marvel Comics, the hell with the universe. Marvel Comics, a lot of organizations, a lot of groups, and a lot of like subgroups and secret groups and all kinds of stuff. And like they have so much to pick from. I really hope whenever they pick heroes from certain groups, I hope they add the group in there and they say somewhat consistent on who's actually in the group. Like, don't make up some nonsense like, oh, out of nowhere, Wanda joined Atlas. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would she do that? What would be the purpose? Well, she was trying to find herself and she lost Vision, but then this new Vision becomes Ultron, and then that becomes a new enemy. I hope I didn't speak the reality into existence. I really hope I didn't, because that would be a very shit story.
Well, it's like the Triumph Division, in the Philippines. If you know about Waves history, know that they are literally the Filipino version of the Avengers. They even have done contracts work with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I mean, Iron Man actually went to, so basically every generation, their kids become the new members of the Triumph Division. So it's not like they're recruited like an Avengers. This is literally all familial. Like everybody is related, or at least my daughter, kind of like Jupiter's Legacy. Like your kid becomes you, basically. And Iron Man attended a lot of their, like 2 of the members died, and he went, all of the Triumph Division died at one point, and they were in an explosion. And Iron Man, Thor, and a bunch of others went to their funeral because everybody knew about him. But when you ask a common person who's not really in depth with this aspect of the storyline in comics, and you say something like, "Oh, this is the Triumph Division," they're like, "Well, who the hell is that?" And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, people don't know, you just don't know.
A lot of them know a lot of that stuff. You got to be. Some things, like we're talking about like regular characters or whatever, like I say regular characters, the mainstays that everybody had, like the household name characters, people know them because they've been making Captain America inspired movies like the 70s. They're like, that's nothing new. But like you talking about characters like Moonstar, just like Moonstar's a good example. Like people don't know what the hell that is. They only learned about that through Netflix. They have no idea.
They don't know Moonstar.
They don't know that shit. So there's like, huh. I wonder what that's about. They don't know. The only thing I've ever seen be truly consistent by comic book to form is DC animated movies. Those are the only ones that seem to actually follow the plot. But then they're animated, so they don't have to worry about actors if they deliver it or not, or using the right lines. They kind of cut some stuff short so it fits like an hour, half hour movie. But yeah, like that's the only time I see even like Young Justice and like Justice League, the other one, I can't remember the title of that. But yeah,
there's too many animated movies about.
I mean, even the TV shows, they do really good jobs. They're consistent. Aren't they also making an Injustice?
Yeah, they already had their second trailer, I think, for the Injustice.
Which I am going to watch. If you never read the Injustice comic book, seriously,
so good.
Do yourself a favor and read it.
Good.
And if you can't read it, I will say audiobook, but you can't do that. Go online and find somebody who's with a video and let them summarize it for you. I mean, that's not the same thing. There's
probably a ton of them already, weekly reviews on YouTube that you can watch for Injustice. So
but it's not the same. Or you can play the video game. It's the same story. But yeah, regardless, do yourself a favor. Don't, because Injustice, the first game, doesn't cover what happened to cause that event in the first place. I think the best part is when Alfred beats. Spoiler alert.
Don't spoil it. Look, shut your mouth. Did you feel that smack on the other side of your head? That was me. That's how
but that part is awesome, and you know it.
I know, but they haven't read it. They don't know it. Quiet, man. Don't be that person.
If you read it, say something in the comments so I can say that I want to say.
Do not, because that means somebody else is gonna watch this and they're not gonna be prepared and they're gonna be spoiled by you.
They're like, oh man.
I mean, you can say it. I'm just gonna mute you.
Anyway, it was a cool scene, and it was all pretty dope. And,
but I mean, everybody knows that Alfred is like the OP of the Bat family. I don't even know why. He really is.
Everything
he's OP. No. They don't know what Alfred does behind the scenes when they're all out doing their stuff. They don't know. They don't know.
It ain't Batman's in charge. No, Alfred's in charge.
I always feel like Alfred is like always at every scene of every fight, and he's back. He's got like remotes and stuff, and he's like, okay, I'll blow that up. Okay, I'll make sure that works.
There's a pecking order. It's Alfred, then Lucius Fox, then Damien because he's a little brat, and then it's Batman, then it's everybody else goes. That's the pecking order entirely.
I'm not even gonna argue with that. That's actually
no reason
true.
Damien has priority because his mom is Talia, and that's the only reason.
I mean, I like Orphan though.
Orphan is really good.
Yeah, Orphan's pretty good.
It's
yeah. So, but I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, we are at an hour and a half, guys. An hour and a half. We will be here all night. Comics. And Maria has got to eat dinner. And then I got to go to sleep. I am tired as hell. I did a stream for the L Word that started at 12:30, did not end until 2:05 a.m. And then I just couldn't sleep. So I am exhausted and I got lots of stuff to do. So yeah. But we will be back next week for What If, and we need to schedule our versus videos. We got to figure out when we're going to do that. I guess we'll do that as a stream as well, but we need to figure out our Blue Marvel versus Icon because now I'm intrigued.
I'm gonna need about a week to look at. I'm not coming with a good argument.
See, he's going to court, and Maria's like, I'm in the holding area. I'm like, I'm an improv girl. I don't need all that research. I got this. But no, I mean, like I said, it's very intriguing if you think about both characters because I like both characters. It would be interesting to see what who will come out on top because I mean they really could go there. It's almost like the death battles where basically it depends on where they are in that moment. So if you have 3 rounds, somebody's gonna win 2 out of 3, or vice. You know what I mean? So
death battle on my nerves so much. Death battle plays on fan favoritism. I don't like that nonsense, but they do. Them and Screw Attack, they're really, really bad at it. They lost my attention with the whole Go vs Superman thing. Like y'all play that. Y'all did not play that the way.
Well, okay, you know what? The Groove. I'm gonna make you smile. After this one, you know who our next one's gonna be? Alfred versus Aunt May. And you know what? As badass as Alfred is, think about how old Aunt May is. She's 900 years old.
Hold on, wait. You talking about Marissa Tomei's Aunt May, or
no? I'm talking about comic book traditional 900-year-old Aunt May.
My money's on Aunt May. Aunt May gonna.
My money's on Aunt May too, because that bitch
Aunt May is about to stomp him into the concrete. He's gonna try to fight back. Trying to protect. I don't know, Jason or.
She'd be like, I've got cookies in the oven, darling. Alfred's like.
And I was like, I came here to fight. Have a cookie. I'm like, what happened? She like takes him down like 2 strikes, like one strike with the tray to the throat, and then she like backdrops him. Ugh.
She's like in the first Tobey Maguire movie with Aunt May when Norman came in and was about to touch the turkey, and she's like
no, he was looking like I'm gonna do something to you. No, you're not.
She's like, sit your butt down.
And May's like Mr. Popo from the Dragon Ball Z Abridged trilogy. Like, oh, you think you're going to do something? Hilarious.
This is how I know we're crazy. All right, cool, guys. Sleep needs to come soon. But yeah, be on the lookout. We will schedule our video, but again, it will be next week. So Power Rangers does start again tomorrow. Unfortunately, I've been spoiled all the way up to episode 18 on this show now, but I plan on reviewing it. So it is what it is.
We got final thoughts on this What If episode. What are your final thoughts? So we got way off topic.
It is cheesy. Oh, no, we didn't get off topic. There really wasn't a lot to it. So it was cheesy. Yeah. I don't see the difference between Thor in this continuity and regular continuity. Honestly, I mean, yes, he has a lot more baggage, a lot more, things have happened to him and to other people he knows. But in terms of him and who Thor is, I kind of still see the same character. So I mean, I don't see a difference. I mean, they should have actually made him emo. This should have been what if he was the only child and he was depressed and didn't want to go party or didn't want to go play God of War and binge on food and didn't want to be in his feelings about Jane not calling him back and breaking up with him. That's the Thor they should have had. This is not what if Thor. This is just what if Thor decided to go party. Like that's what that is. So I feel like in some ways, I mean, it's multiverse, anything can happen. I feel like some way this is kind of appropriate for Thor because because in the mythology, Thor loved to drink and party and act a fucking fool anyway. But Yeah, now in the comics, he was a little more serious because he was a doctor.
Yeah,
human persona was a doctor. So
the comic made him a superhero. The Northern mythology, he was just a guy that liked to mess with. No, he liked to beat people up and kill giants when they did something like touch his hammer.
Yeah, that was almost like his Incredible Hulk form. Like Thor, he was like his Incredible Hulk, and then the regular like his human persona actually was a lot like Dr. Midnight, the original Dr. Midnight.
That's back when they gave Thor a secret identity. That was a long time ago.
Yep.
But I will say this: if the T'Challa episode being Star-Lord was like birthday cake, because it was, this episode was like cheap movie theater cheese. It really was. It was
like Dollar Tree popcorn.
With the Dollar Tree stars and stripes soda. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's probably the best analogy.
It was fun to watch, but it meant absolutely nothing, and you don't miss anything from watching it. It's just a fun way to rot your brain for a little bit. It's something I would suggest you watch an episode. If you're like having a really bad day and you're feeling low on yourself and you're like kind of sad, you get off from work and your boss is a jerk, and you feel like a troglodyte. That's a very. If you catch that reference for that commercial, that bumper ad, put in the comments. You surprise me, please. But if you're feeling that way and all that good stuff, watch that episode. You might giggle. You're like, oh, I would party with Thor. You probably shouldn't, but hey, that's all it was. It's just.
You might just have the what if question mark right on your phone. What if I stop watching this episode? But like I said, it wasn't bad. It was just cheese. It was cheese. And I mean, the one thing we didn't touch on was the fact that Vision looked like he was coming to invade Earth at the end of the episode. But that's because I kind of feel like everything's going to be tied into one master episode at the end. It
looks like Vision. That's like the Ultron Vision. It looks like. So I'm like, oh.
Maybe to be fair, this could be actually the one that was put back together by Zombie Wanda. So who knows? We
don't know what's going to happen on this one. We just know that it surprised the hell out of the watchers. Like, what? That was
even Watcher was like, I'm gonna get my popcorn. This is worth watching.
Like, oh, this is new.
Because what people don't realize is that all of these multiverses are his streaming service. I'm like, oh.
So in essence, we're all watchers.
We're all watchers. I mean, it is what it is. But so yeah, that's the final thought. I mean, not a bad episode, but I mean, it wasn't really. I can't even say it was good. It was just cheap.
It wasn't. I mean, honestly, it wasn't a good episode. It just wasn't bad. It was funny. But it was funny. It's like a terrible movie. Like, oh, it was funny as hell. Was it a good movie? Oh no.
Not at all. Not at all. All right, guys. Remember to leave your comments and questions, concerns. If you have a tantrum, whatever you want to do, put it in the comments below because we look at that. You can carry on this conversation. It's something we didn't touch on, which could happen because we get started talking about other comic book stuff, and that's just what happens on Friday. So I mean, get used to it. That's what it is. But your thoughts, concerns, whatever in the comments. And then again, we will be doing our Blue Marvel versus Icon video sometime next week. So we will schedule that as a stream as well as the next What If episode. Make sure you like and subscribe to first of all the Grooves channel. Also, we have Shiz Talkers, which is also linked below. That is me and Groove's beautiful wife Jam's podcast that should be coming out. It's a little delayed. We're waiting on our opening, trying to figure out our opening on our podcast right now, but it's coming. So we have that. And then we also have WOS, Words of Sarah. Please subscribe to that. That is a motion comic coming out next year. We got a lot of stuff to subscribe to. And then if you're an Approach to Yuri fan or already don't know about my other channel that's more Yuri LGBT focused, and that's also below. So yeah, lots of stuff to click on. I just gave you homework. Just start clicking and subscribing and all the things. If you would like to like this video, go ahead. If you would like to dislike this video, go ahead. Either way, I don't care. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you turn all the notifications on so people know when the streams are happening. Because I'm getting a lot of people telling me they're missing my streams because it's not popping up because Google hates me. So that is the thing. Too queer for them. It's why when you type the word queer in my in any of my comments, it instantly gets deleted. You cannot use anything queer.
YouTube, Disney, Google, everybody, the whole corporation that is the world, that is the corporation. I feel like America should be called America Incorporated. That's how
I pretty much feel to the rest of the world it is. Yeah. All right, guys. If it is night for you, have a good night. If it is day for you, have a good day. Until next time, guys, you have a very good weekend, which you'll probably see me before then, but we'll see you in the next video. Bye.